Hello people, it's Sandy again, believe it or not. It's been quite some time since I made a video, and there's several reasons for that, but I had a few messages from people asking an update on my house and how I was keeping and how the family was, etc. And I thought, okay, I'm going to sit down and make a quick video and let everybody know how it is going here and bring you fully up to date. So, how is life with me now? Well, life is pretty good actually. It's quiet. We don't go out too much. Well, we do go. We go out and have meals, etc. But still lead a quiet life. I don't travel anywhere. I don't go downtown. So life just now is very nice and it's very relaxed. I'm enjoying being here with my family and my daughter who's at school at the moment, and that's the family side of life. It's good. How's my house? Well, that's what a lot of people have been asking me, and the last video I made was just after I had my my 2 blood transfusions with the 2 units for each transfusion, and it brought my blood level up to 34% at that time, and what a difference it made. What an absolute difference. Before I could hardly walk, and anything was a major exertion for me, but when I started getting blood back into my body, then it did change me a lot. My brand new wheelchair I'd purchased has gone into storage here in the back of the house. I did consider selling it, but I didn't get much interest in it, so I put it away. I've decided to hang on to it, just in case, you know. I hope I don't need it again, but you never know. My walking now is pretty good, actually. I can walk a fair distance, uphill, downhill, etc., as long as I got a flat surface and not broken up pieces of concrete or rough ground. I'm all right. And if I get onto any bad ground or rough ground, then I certainly lose my confidence and I run into problems. So for that reason, I've started using a walking stick, and that certainly helps me a lot. That gives me a lot more confidence. But to be honest, I still have to be careful. The experience I've had over the last 18 months, 2 years before I had the blood transfusion, took all my confidence away. And another aspect that came up is because we found it so difficult to get my blood group, which is O rhesus negative and which is quite rare here in Thailand, I realized, and as my wife pointed out, we have to be really careful, because if I have an accident of any sort and I need blood, then it could be serious. It could be much more serious than it might be. And of course, I'm 76 years old now, and the last thing I want to end up is slipping and breaking some bones or whatever, because I see a lot of people when that happens to them in the bathroom, etc. It's the beginning of a big downturn for many, and a lot of people don't recover from something as simple as falling over and breaking a leg or cracking a hip or something in a fall. So it's another reason for me to be very, very careful on everything I'm doing. So I don't go out riding motorbikes now. I don't want to tempt an accident now. And that really is an update on my health. So I'm feeling much better, much stronger. I'm eating better. I'm taking all my anemic medications, the iron tablets and the acid tablets. I'm taking them religiously. Once again, my wife makes sure I do that every night after we've had our meal, and it's tablet time, and I keep going up to date with them. On the 14th of August, I've got a major update. I have to go in one day and get all my bloods taken and get a check over, and then on the Tuesday I've got to go back and see the doctor to get a full analysis of where I am. Now, they were talking about taking a sample of my bone marrow, a bone biopsy, drilling into the bone and getting some marrow out at that time. But I've told them I don't want that. I don't, if I've got some serious problems with my bone marrow or the stem cells therein, then I don't really want to know, to be truthful, and I'm not going to go through any chemo or anything like that. So hopefully, cross the fingers, and everything else will be okay, and I'll look forward to another few years pestering people here. So that's what I hope anyway. So let me give you an update on Pattaya now. And Pattaya's gone through some big changes in the last few months. We're not getting anywhere. This is officially the low season, where we don't expect so many tourists, but we're down to virtually none of what we used to hope for here. A lot of the Westerners from Europe and UK, etc., Australasia and the USA, very, very few people coming, and it's the lowest low season that I've ever witnessed in Pattaya, and I read about it every day. And all the bars, etc., are there's a lot of businesses gone bust, really, really bad. Yet there's still people coming and opening bars, which I don't understand, but they're not being used. The predominant people coming to Thailand now are the Indians from India. They are coming in big numbers, and Pattaya has been taken over by Indians, actually. Down Walking Street, there's lots of new Indian nightclubs and India restaurants everywhere. For those that have been here and seen what I call the back buses, the songtails that go around picking people up and dropping them off at 10 baht at a time. They used to have lots of adverts on the sides for UK bars, things to do for Western tourists, etc., etc. But it's virtually gone. We were downtown shopping a few days ago, and I sat at the beach for a while, and I was watching all these things go past, and it's all India adverts that are on the sides of these buses now, advertising for India people. And for many reasons, I think India tourists are not as popular here as many other tourists are. And I think it's a lot to do with their attitude and the way they conduct themselves, and don't have much respect for other people, that they're not so popular. That being said, the other groups, the Russians, they're in a very similar boat, actually. They keep themselves to themselves, and they're making problems or opening businesses and working, etc., when they're not entitled to. And we've got a lot of Russians here because of the Ukraine problem with Russia. So there is a lot of Russians, and there's a lot of Chinese, and there's a lot of Koreans, and that is the main build-up of the tourists that are coming here. Now, the way Pattaya organises itself is very impressive, actually. Most weekends, nearly all weekends, actually, they've got some sort of things on. Last weekend was a big marathon weekend here in Pattaya, where they had a major marathon, 41 kilometres, and then a 20 kilometre, and many family runs and fun runs, etc. And that happened last weekend, and there was a lot of people come to Pattaya from Bangkok and from other parts of Thailand. A lot of Thai people come here every weekend and fill the city. So the hotels do okay at the weekends, but during the week, I don't know, they might do okay because with the Indians and things, because they all stay in hotels. Chinese and Russians, they've taken over a lot of the condominiums, but there's thousands of condominiums still empty. And that's the way of life here in Pattaya. That's where a lot of people like to live when they come to Pattaya for their vacations, etc. Understandably so. So that's the way Pattaya is at the moment. It's very, very quiet, and there's a lot of concerns about if it's going to buck up in the high season and coming near Christmas. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure at all, because Thailand, for the people that used to come and partying and enjoying themselves, mixing with the girls and having a fantastic time, that is now very, very expensive. We're having girlfriends here and playing around. It used to be very, very, very good value for money. Now it's very expensive. And it's been that way since COVID, actually, since the girls started learning how to use the internet and do these various ways they can make money on the internet. Only something, whatever it is, that the girls go on and they get customers going on to pay them. So the girls have become a lot more up to date with using the internet. Not only that, a lot of the bars, they get their staff through agencies now, and a lot of these agencies supply girls on 10-day contracts. So if a girl doesn't like it, at the end of 10 days she can leave, etc. Or if she's not making money or there's problems, she can finish her 10 days, get paid, and then move on to another contract. But these agencies, I believe, I'm told, are quite expensive to get staff from. And therefore, what is a typical arrangement now is if a guy goes into a bar and he wants to take a girl out, he's maybe going to have to buy, before he's even allowed to think about it and talk about it, he's got to have bought the girl 3 or 5 drinks already at lady drink prices. And then she might be allowed to get a bar fine, and the bar fines now can range right up to 5,000 baht for the really up high bars, and the classy girls, they can charge a lot. And then if they're going with a guy for a short time, an hour or two, then that's going to cost them maybe 3,000 baht. So there's 4.5, well, it's going to cost them between 5 and 10,000 actually, just to get the girl out and get everything ready. If she's going for an all-night session with a guy, then a lot of them are looking for 5,000 baht for an all-night. So I hear a lot of stories in the last couple of years, actually, that are guys that have come here from UK and Australia, and I see them talking about it on YouTube. These guys have run out of money on a 3-week holiday, just 4 or 5 days into their holiday, and they're bust, and they're having to look at either getting more money sent from their home, or they're looking at having to get their air ticket changed and go off after just a short time into their holiday. And that's because of the expense here. It is considerably more expensive for being the party life, etc. In the sort of life that I lead, as a married guy here with my family, who I love very, very dearly, we see the prices going up a lot as well. You know, things like fuel for cars and grocery prices, but nowhere near as bad as many other places. But it's still gone up. It's still, I would say, in the last since the pandemic, it's probably gone up about 20-30%, which is still significant actually. And there's all sorts of other things happening here in Pattaya, and let me just talk about a couple of points with immigration. Now, a lot of guys wanted to come here and settle down and get long-term O visas for either retirement or marriage or whatever. It's much more difficult than it used to be. For a start, you've got to get a bank account and have so much money in the bank before you can apply for the visa. But theoretically and by law, you can't get a bank account until you've got a long-term visa. So it's a catch-22 situation. However, that's not really a problem because they can help out. There is people that can help out. Even a couple of the banks were helping out the people that were seriously going for long-term visas. But in the last 2 or 3 months, there's a lot changed in the banks. For instance, I've got 2 bank accounts here in Thailand. One I keep as a ready-use bank. We keep so much money in there, and I've got another account that has more money in, and that's kept to make sure my visa's safe and with excess money for any accidents or any surprises, etc. We keep that. Whereas a lot of people coming here, and I mean a lot, they come here and they've got no funds, or virtually no funds. Maybe they're just living in their old age pension, which isn't enough to survive here in Pattaya. And it's certainly not enough to meet the requirements of the immigration for your long-term visa. For instance, as a married guy, I've got to have 400,000 Thai baht in the bank. If I'm just retired and I'm not married, then it's got to be 800,000 Thai baht. And that is a lot of money. And there has been traditionally ways by going through agents who can pay the relevant parties off to ignore some of these requirements and let people stay. And of course, you've got to pay the agent a commission for organising this for you, and that's not cheap either. So if you haven't got the money to stay, you're once again between a rock and a hard place. If you don't pay an agent their significant fees, then you could be in real trouble. But it seems that the people in power are starting to get wise to a lot of this, and certainly the banks have become very aware of it. In the last couple of months, one of my ready-use bank account, they stopped my account, and I had to go in with my passport, etc., and my visa, and have them verify that, and then they reinstated the account. And just a couple of weeks ago, my major account, that got stopped altogether as well. And there's a fair bit of money in there. So I had to go down there, and that was similar, but a bit more detailed in that. When I got there, they said, okay, what I had to do for them was I had to go to my mobile phone supplier and get verification that my telephone number was in fact registered to me at this address. And then I had to get a paper from them and then go back and present it to the bank. And then they cancelled my account and issued me a new account. They transferred the money, so there's no problem that way. But listening to some of the reports going around, it's quite possible that in the near future, all this facility of putting money in your account that it doesn't belong to you, getting your visa and then taking it back out again, and you having to pay for the under-the-counter progression of the visa, that might be coming to an end, and that would really affect a lot of people here in the country, because a lot of them don't have the sort of money to deposit in a bank and maintain that balance to that level. So we'll wait and see what's happening there. If you're thinking about retiring here, etc., if you can, I would suggest you stick to the regulations if you can. Pay the full amount into a Thai bank account and run yourself legally through immigration each time you go in, and that way you should have no worries at all. So that's immigration here. Weather-wise, now that's changing a lot as well. At the moment we're in rainy season and we're getting a lot of rain, a lot of floods. And the weather has changed drastically from when I first came to Thailand 30 odd years ago. It's changed altogether. Then at that time the seasons were really quite defined, which was the cold season, the wet season, the hot season, etc. It all came and went as it was supposed to, but now it's kind of all dissolved into a pot mess of various weather cycles, and we can't really depend on anything. Like today, I think just now it's about 30 degrees, which is relatively okay, and at night time it goes down to 23 or 24, which is quite good. But tomorrow it could be back up to 40 degrees with the sun shining, and that's another real problem. Just a news flash here. Today, so the news is Thailand is at war today with Cambodia, and they've started fighting. The jets from Thailand bombing Cambodia, and a bit further north from here, the Cambodians have been shelling into Isan, one of the northern provinces there, and even my wife's hometown, Surin, has been hit by some shells, etc. this morning. We're waiting to see how this is going to develop, but it's serious enough, and this argument between Cambodia and Thailand over borderlands has gone on for quite some years, and they keep fighting to get land with one side and then the other side fighting to get it back again, and it's gone on for quite a long time, and it's continuing. Started again today in serious style. So how are the bars and everything doing? Well, I've already briefly covered it. You know, there's a lot of bars and etc. going out of business. There's a lot of cafes and restaurants open. It seems like cafes are a good fallback for many people. So there's a lot of cafes in town and a lot of bars and ice cream parlors and restaurants. Various restaurants have opened up, and various cuisines. So that's a big thing. Whether they make business or not, I'm not so sure. I don't think a lot of the tourists are that interested in high dining at this time, but maybe it will come. Now, another big aspect that's changed recently and has concerned a lot of people. Those of you that know a bit about Thailand, you know a couple of years back, I think, they changed the cannabis rules, and all of a sudden we had a glut of cannabis shops opening everywhere in Thailand. Here in Pattaya, there seemed to be one every 3 doors and selling cannabis. Prior to that, it was illegal, and you could get a jail term for being caught with cannabis. Well, as I say, business grew quickly. A lot of people started growing cannabis, people opening up farms in the north. I have some Thai friends that actually spend a lot of money starting a Thai cannabis farm and building greenhouses and importing fertilizers and all the rest of it from Europe. And they spend a lot of money on it, and they started growing. Well, they've now changed the rules quite a lot, and it's a serious concern. A lot of shops have already started closing, actually. And what is required now, if you have a shop that you want to sell cannabis from, then you've got to have a qualified medical person on site to check people that are coming in to buy it and check that they've got the relevant certificate, etc., and the medical conditions that require them to take cannabis. If you don't have the physician on site, then you've got a problem. And that's not limited to the shops. If you're buying cannabis and then you're caught smoking it somewhere around town, you've got to be able to produce the paperwork that you used to purchase the cannabis for inspection. So it's getting dangerous again for the potheads that use cannabis. So that might detriment people coming here for tourists. Also, where they enjoyed it before, that might put the brakes on the tourism a little bit as well. So, as I said at the beginning, I'm not really using YouTube very much at all now. I still use it for reference and follow the news, etc. And the reason that put me off quite a bit is even the type of videos I make talking to a relatively small group of subscribers and watchers about family life here and my life and my house, etc. It attracted the usual keyboard warriors that wanted to come out with all nasty bits of work. And I see not only happen to me, and one of the reasons I got really concerned about it is, although I know they're just keyboard warriors and they're talking a load of rubbish, and I got worried in case they started getting to sort of send this sort of stuff to my wife and my daughter. And that's one of the reasons I've kind of stayed away from YouTube for quite a bit. Although I do actually still watch a lot of YouTube, as I say. I've been working with a lot of these AI programs that are coming out. It keeps me busy, and it makes me think, and I try a lot of the programs out and see what they do, etc. And I quite enjoy that, actually. That's AI, but you know, it seems like every single day we get another few AI programs, software programs coming online and trying to attract people into them, and it's become like a tsunami of AI hitting us every day. And I do wonder where this is going to end up. But I enjoy following it along and seeing what you can achieve. And a lot of it is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'll say that. What I have been doing is I took an interest in this Etsy, ETSY, and this is a site many people will probably know of it that encourage people that have arts, etc., to put their products online. And it does include a lot of print, what do they call it? You make a product and you get it printed by another company, and print on demand, that's what they call it, print on demand. And for instance, I'm designing clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, various things. And I put designs on them, and then I list them on Etsy. And I've been doing that now for, I think, about 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks. And at the moment, I've got 52 or 53 products up on Etsy. And my shop name is Smart with Style. And if anybody are interested to see how it's going, you can go on and look on Etsy and look up Smart with Style, the shop, and then you'll see my products on there. And I find that quite interesting. And if I can make a few sales on there and get an additional small income, then that would help a lot. That would put a bit of butter on the bread and add the cake to our existence. And I think it quite possibly could, because although it's been quite quiet just now during the summer season when everybody's having their holidays, etc., right after the holiday season we start working towards Christmas, and that's the busiest time of the year. So what I'm hoping to do is have a full site ready and waiting, and I hope I'm creating the sort of right designs that will attract people, and it might be something that you'd be interested in if you've got time on your hands and you want to try and make a secondary niche income of some sort. Have a look on there, because there's lots of things that people are doing, making candles and even doing documents from the computer, pictures and PDFs, and they're selling them online now. If you've got time to spare and you're wondering how to use your mind, etc., I would suggest that you have a look at that. There's millions of people on it, but there's always room for more. I think that there's always room for more, and there's always room for unique thoughts, etc. So there's a tip if you want to make a few extra bucks in your spare time. And just one last kind of thought I'd like to share with you here, and it's something I'm very, very anti about, actually. I've just, over the last few days, actually, I've been hearing adverts for a law company called Magna Carta here in Pattaya, and they're offering loans to people like myself who might want to borrow money to do something, buy a car or blah, blah, blah. But they're taking you have to have property that you purchase, whether it be condominiums or houses like myself, and that's what they hold for security. Now, they know already that a lot of people get into serious financial problems here. They start, what maybe was a good income for them 20 years ago is not so good now. And they might be struggling. And this, when they start to really struggle and they're getting into problems, this might tempt them into going and borrowing money. And I'm going to find out the rates, etc., that these people want to charge. But they're getting into a market where they know they are going to have the ability to lend money to people that are struggling to live here and struggling with their economy. And that is for sure, because there are a lot of expats here that have got serious financial problems. Some of them are already living on the beach or living on the street. And it's a sad affair. And it's not only Thailand, it's all over Southeast Asia. The Philippines are very bad. Cambodia and Vietnam also. They're all countries that have got many expats that are struggling financially. So with this company, Magna Carta, nice English law name, yeah? 1066, I think, Magna Carta, wasn't it? So they are gearing themselves up to take advantage of people that are maybe struggling. I think that's a little bit sad. So if you know anybody that may be in that situation, warn them off if you hear about that. Okay, that's my little return to bringing you all up to speed. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've got my dogs here and my parrots here somewhere. I can hear a clicking away in the house of the parrot. So I'll go back to my life here, and I'll try and make a point of keeping in regular contact now. So thanks for watching, and take care for now. Bye.